We all know Africa for its sweeping savannas and great migrations, but Tanzania also hides a lake that can calcify birds into stone. Lake Natron's alkaline waters sometimes preserve creatures as fossil-like, and nearby Olduvai Gorge rewrote our story by revealing the earliest human ancestors. From Kilimanjaro's shrinking glaciers to the secret chimpanzee sanctuaries of Mahale and the labyrinthine alleys of Stone Town, Tanzania is full of extremes. Udzungwa Mountains National Park harbors one of the world's highest concentrations of endemic species, tucked into Tanzania's ancient eastern arc forests. Do you know the Udzungwa rainforests have been isolated for millions of years, spawning monkeys, frogs, and plants found nowhere else on Earth? Here, the Sanjimangabe and the Udzungwa red colobus move through canopy corridors that scientists once believed were lost to time. Trails wind from mist-soaked montane forest down to lowland riverine woodlands, linking habitats where earth-hugging ferns meet giant fig trees. Sanjay Waterfalls plunges in thunderous sheets, carving deep gorges and feeding pools that glitter with life, invisible to casual visitors. Tiny jewel-like frogs cling to mossy trunks, and orchids bloom in secret, while ancient cycads stand like watchful sentinels. Local communities have revered these slopes for generations, and their low-impact farming and forest guardianship help sustain the fragile balance. Walking here is less a tourist trek than a slow uncovering of evolutionary experiments that replay differently in each valley. From plateau to gorge, the park connects to Kilimanjaro Valley and the broader eastern arc chain, creating migration corridors essential for wildlife resilience. Researchers still find species new to science, reminding us that Udzungwa is both a refuge and a laboratory of biodiversity. Visiting Udzungwa is an invitation to witness how small mountains can hold outsized importance for a continent's ecological future. Every footstep reveals layers, leaf litter alive with beetles, canopies thick with drongos, and caves whispering geological time. Stay long enough, and the mountain teaches patience, changing the way you measure beauty and worth in the natural world. In a single day, you can traverse ecosystems that took millennia to craft, each offering clues to survival and adaptation. This is Udzungwa, a compact mountain kingdom where every hidden trail is a story waiting to be told. Mount Meru rises to 40,062 meters and cradles one of the planet's rare montane cloud forests that tumble directly into savanna plains. Do you know, Mount Meru's volcanic cone conceals silent crater lakes and an ecosystem where red colobus monkeys and giant forest hogs share the same slopes. Walk its trails and you pass through incense-scented East African montane forest draped with moss, strangler figs, and towering African olive trees. Lower down, open grasslands give way to bamboo thickets, heather moorland, and finally, a crisp alpine desert near the summit. Meru's volcanic bones are visible in black lava ridges and old ash terraces that hold stories of eruptions centuries old. These scars also formed hidden valleys that channel rare waterfalls and mist-fed streams into the Momella wetlands below. Arusha National Park wraps around Meru, so climbing its slopes is a wildlife journey where buffalo, giraffe, and elephant can be spotted at lower elevations. Many climbers use Meru as the perfect acclimatization ascent before tackling Kilimanjaro, its white-capped neighbor to the east. At dawn, the crater rim often hosts a ghostly procession of black and white colobus monkeys, swinging between ancient figs and coffee saplings left by old farms. That silence allows nocturnal creatures and ancient fungi to thrive in the mountain's cooler heart, unseen by most travelers. As paths descend from the crater, you can trace water's journey into the Momella lakes, where flamingos feed on microscopic life, spun from volcanic minerals. Those same waterways nurtured Arusha town's farms and the cultural rhythms of communities who read the mountain's rains as calendars. In this film, we will follow one rift, one river, and one route up Meru to reveal why this overlooked giant shapes both landscape and lives. Join us as Meru's green skin peels back to reveal geology, ecology, and human stories that connect this mountain to the wider wilds of Tanzania. Lake Natron, in northern Tanzania, is one of the world's most caustic lakes. Its alkaline waters capable of calcifying animals, while simultaneously nurturing vast colonies of lesser flamingos. Do you know Lake Natron's shallow basins are fed by the uniquely dark, soda-rich eruptions of Olduvai Gorge, producing a chemical cocktail that turns the surface into a crimson breeding ground each year. The tiny lesser flamingo depends on the lake's salty cyanobacteria, and during breeding season, the shoreline becomes a frenetic nursery where millions arrive to mate and rear chicks. From a distance, their pink plumes blur into a living ribbon that links the Rift Valley's wetlands to the Serengeti's migratory routes, showing how this hostile landscape is actually a keystone for regional wildlife. Despite its inhospitable chemistry, Lake Natron preserves the extraordinary. Carcasses swept against the shoreline can harden into eerie, stone-like sculptures, a phenomenon once mistaken for petrification. Walking the rim, you sense the raw tectonics of the East African Rift, how fire from Olduvai Gorge feeds salt into water, and how that chemistry feeds life in an almost paradoxical chain. As we move from Natron's sterile shores toward the grassy plains beyond, the story continues. A landscape shaped by extremes that quietly sustains one of the planet's most improbable ecosystems. Hidden in the alkaline steam are microbial mats that paint the shallows in russet and orange, microscopic factories producing nectar for flamingo food webs. Tarangire National Park holds one of the highest elephant densities on Earth, concentrated along a single seasonal river that becomes a wildlife magnet. Do you know Tarangire's namesake river shrinks in the dry season and funnels tens of thousands of animals into deceptively small green corridors surrounded by baobab-studded plains? Ancient baobabs tower like living cathedrals here, their swollen trunks scarred by time and the passing of generations of animals and people. These giants, some hundreds, if not thousands of years old, create microclimates and shelters that shape the park's unique food web. The park's mosaic of acacia woodlands, savanna, and seasonal floodplains supports predator-prey dramas that change with the rains. At dry season edges, you can watch enormous herds of elephant, wildebeest, zebra, and buffalo gather in astonishing density that few parks can match. Tarangire is more than big mammals. It is a secret birding jewel where migratory species find critical refuge and hunters find camouflage. Walk close and you can read histories carved into baobab bark. Track lines where generations have moved with the rains. Listen and the park speaks. Hooves, trumpets, rustling leaves, a living chronicle of survival and adaptation. As dusk falls, the river mirrors a sky full of stars, while nocturnal life begins its watch, from gennates to stealthy leopards. Tarangire, often overshadowed by its famous neighbors, rewards the curious with intimacy and ecological stories found nowhere else. In the next segment, we'll follow a single herd's dry season trek and discover how one park sustains an entire network of life. Join us as Tarangire's secret corridors reveal why protecting one river can protect an entire ecosystem. Mahale Mountains National Park shelters one of the world's only shoreline chimpanzee populations, where rainforest plunges into Lake Tanganyika. Do you know, Mahale Mountains National Park's chimpanzees have been filmed paddling through shallow bays and scaling volcanic ridges in ways unseen elsewhere. Here, emerald forest climbs steep granite slopes and spills into sapphire waters, creating a living edge between mountain and lake. In these remote coves, scientists and trackers have watched generations of chimp communities develop unique behaviors born of island and forest life. Trails wind from palm-bordered beaches into cathedral-like canopy, where orchids and rare birds share space with elusive duikers. The park's inaccessibility has preserved species assemblages that feel frozen in time, yet constantly surprising researchers. Habituated troops offer intimate encounters that reveal tool use, social rituals, and surprising adaptability to lakeside habitats. Visitors who cross Lake Tanganyika arrive at villages where oral histories speak of chimps that taught people which fruits are safe. Protecting Mahale means protecting a living laboratory where culture, climate, and geography have co-authored unexpected chapters. In the next segment, we'll trace one chimpanzee family's route from beachfront fruit trees to highland nesting sites. Along the way, we will uncover the fragile human ties that both threaten and sustain this extraordinary refuge. Stay with us as Mahale's hidden rhythms unfold, its loud insect choruses, its whispered troop politics, and its lake-born secrets. By the end, you'll understand why this remote pocket on Lake Tanganyika matters to the fate of chimpanzees and to anyone who studies wildness. Kondoa's limestone shelters hold more than 1,500 painted panels clustered in the Eerie Hills, one of the richest concentrations of rock art in the world. Do you know some of these images were created by artists whose pigments and strokes survived centuries of weather, preserving scenes of hunters, ritual dancers, and enigmatic animals that still puzzle researchers today? The paintings were produced over millennia by successive communities, layering styles and stories so that a single rock face can trace human life from the deep past to more recent times. What makes Kondoa extraordinary is not just the number of sites, but the diversity of imagery. Slender human figures, oversized eyes, handprints, hunting sequences, and abstract motifs painted in reds, blacks, and whites. Archaeologists see traces of ritual performance in the scenes, hints that these were more than decoration and were central to community identity and belief. Local oral traditions add another layer, telling of seasonal gatherings and sacred places where people left marks to connect with ancestors and the spirit world. Walk among the shelters, and you encounter panels that seem to speak across time, where a hunter's spear points toward an animal painted centuries earlier. Conservation here is delicate work, balancing the needs of nearby communities with the fragile pigments on soft rock. And recent projects have trained villagers as guardians of the art. From Kondoa, the journey naturally unfurls outward. Follow ancient trails down to the broad savannahs, where the same peoples adapted to changing climates, and then on toward the highlands and the game-rich plains beyond. These paintings are a portal, a visual archive that connects the intimate rituals of small past communities to the sweeping landscapes of modern Tanzania, inviting us to read stories written in pigment and stone. Lake Tanganyika holds the title of the world's second deepest freshwater lake. Plunging over 1,470 meters, beneath its glassy surface. Do you know Lake Tanganyika harbors more fish species than almost any other lake, with hundreds of cichlids found nowhere else on Earth? Its shoreline stitches together dense rainforest, rocky cliffs, and remote fishing villages that have traded in the lake's riches for centuries. The water here runs clear and cool, and beneath it lies a living laboratory where evolutionary experiments are visible in plain sight. Scientists dive into its depths to study ancient lineages, and snorkelers sometimes glimpse colorful cichlids darting among submerged boulders. The lake's immense depth creates layers of water that rarely mix, trapping nutrients and shaping unique oxygen-poor zones far below the surface. This stratification has produced species adapted to narrow niches, many of which exist nowhere else on the planet. From the reflective shores of Tanganyika, the narrative shifts inland toward the savannahs, where rivers born from its watershed feed vast national parks. The lake is both a cradle of life and a corridor that threads Tanzania's water systems into wider landscapes of plains and forests. In the next segment, we'll follow the path of those rivers, tracing how Tanzania's waterways sustain migrations, cultures, and the drama of the great herds. But first, stay with Tanganyika a moment longer to witness how small communities and ancient species keep time with this extraordinary lake. Olduvai Gorge contains one of the world's most complete, finely layered records of early human fossils spanning almost 2 million years. Do you know that archaeologists found Homo habilis bones here, alongside stone tools older than 1 million years, discoveries that reshaped our view of human origins? Volcanic ash layers act like precise timestamps, preserving moments when climate swings reshaped the landscape and its inhabitants. Animal bones, stone flakes, and ancient hearths combine to reveal repeated scenes of hunting, butchery, and survival strategies. Mary and Louis Leakey's excavations turned the gorge into a scientific treasure trove that forced researchers to rethink timelines. Yet Olduvai is also a living landscape where tectonic rifts and shifting lakes created a patchwork of habitats over millennia. Those changing environments pressured early hominins to innovate, producing tools and behaviors that mark cognitive leaps. The oldest butchered bones here show diets and social practices far more complex than simple survival stories. Microscopic pollen and sediments let scientists reconstruct ancient climates with surprising clarity, revealing droughts and lush intervals that directed evolutionary paths. Local Maasai oral traditions weave modern human memory into the deep time record, connecting present communities to prehistoric place. Walking the rim today, you feel silence above a noisy archive of extinct ecosystems and human experiments. The gorge's fossil story reaches outward toward the Serengeti, where evolving species met shifting plains and predators in an interconnected drama. Paths that once funneled animals through Olduvai still shape migration routes across Tanzania, binding past and present ecologies. Leaving the site, the narrative expands. Olduvai is a hinge in a larger East African story we will follow next. Excavations continue to yield surprises, with new tools and fossils nudging timelines and interpretations. Each find invites fresh questions about migration, technology, and how climate steered evolutionary paths across Africa. Scientists use DNA, isotopes, and 3D scans to read these ancient chapters with increasing precision. Olduvai still holds secrets that could reshape our understanding of when and how humans adapted, linking stone to story to surreal. Hidden in the Indian Ocean, Tanzania's Zanzibar harbors bioluminescent lagoons that glow like spilled stars along coral shores. Do you know that Stone Town sits at the heart of Zanzibar? Its honeycomb of alleys built from coral rag and centuries of sea salt, spice trade, and Swahili stories. Walk through a main alley, and you feel centuries compress into a single heartbeat, where Omani doors and Indian balconies lean toward each other. Markets bleed into mosques, and the scent of cloves will pull you from a shadow into a sunlit stall of bright silver and carved ebony. Stone Town's architecture reads like a ledger of arrivals: Portuguese, Arab, Persian, and British inked in coral and lime. Every carved wooden door is a signature, and every rooftop tells how the island bent to winds of trade and returned richer in culture. From the bustling Darajani market, you can trace a line to the island's spice farms, where cinnamon, nutmeg, and cloves still ferment stories in the soil. Guides will ferry you from market alleys to sun-baked fields, and by the time you taste a fresh clove, the town already tastes different. Listen closely, and the rhythms hint at routes that once connected these streets to Lamu, Kilwa, and the wider Swahili coast. Stone Town is not frozen. It moves between eras, its preservation a negotiation between locals, conservationists, and the pressures of tourism. That negotiation is visible in restored doors, in community-run guest houses, and in projects that protect coral gardens just beyond the reef. To know Stone Town is to travel the spine of Zanzibar, from spice farms to shoreline, from market cries to quiet courtyards where time slows. And when you step out of its alleys onto the beach, the ocean will remind you that every trade route and every story began with a crossing. Mount Kilimanjaro's summit, Uhuru Peak, carries permanent glaciers less than 300 miles from the equator, a phenomenon found in only a handful of places on Earth. Do you know Mount Kilimanjaro is the tallest freestanding mountain on Earth, rising nearly 5,900 meters above sea level and holding entire ecological zones stacked like layers on a cake? Towering over Tanzania, Kilimanjaro is a dormant stratovolcano with 3 volcanic cones, Kibo, Mawenzi, and Shira, each sculpting very different terrain. Climbers can cross rainforests dripping with moss, traverse alpine deserts, and step onto glaciers that have been melting at alarming rates for more than a century. Local Chaga communities have cultivated rich coffee farms on the mountain's lower slopes for generations, their terraces tying human story to the mountain's water cycle. From the town of Moshi, guides prepare trekkers for routes like Marangu, Macham, and Lemosho, each route offering a different rhythm and view of the alpine grandeur. Kilimanjaro National Park, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, protects this vertical island of biodiversity and the wildlife that relies on its catchment. As the glaciers retreat, scientists and local leaders worry about downstream impacts on rivers and the Serengeti plains that depend on seasonal flows. But beyond environmental urgency, Kilimanjaro is threaded into Tanzania's cultural map, from the Chaga's sacred forests to stories passed among Maasai herders on the plains beyond. The climb itself is more than sport. Reaching Uhuru Peak at sunrise feels like crossing from equatorial warmth to a polar sky. Within hours, geologically, Kibo's crater harbors ancient ice and fumaroles, a silent record of the mountain's volcanic heartbeat and Earth's climatic past. Researchers use its shrinking ice fields as a living archive to understand global warming in high-elevation tropics. Every year, thousands attempt the ascent, but success is as much about acclimatization and respect for the mountain's moods as it is about fitness. Down below, conservation efforts work to balance tourism, local livelihoods, and the urgent need to preserve Kilimanjaro's rare equatorial glaciers. Connecting to Tanzania's wider mosaic, the water that begins on Kilimanjaro feeds rivers that thread through coffee valleys toward Lake Manyara and the Rift Valley landscapes. In this way, Kilimanjaro is not an isolated peak, but a headwater for ecosystems that lead visitors on to Ngorongoro's caldera and the sweeping Serengeti migrations. Mkomazi National Park is one of the planet's rare semi-arid refuges where black rhinos and African wild dogs survive together. Do you know Mkomazi's skeletal plains hide springs fed by underground aquifers that sustain isolated wetlands in the dry season? Stretching along the border with Kenya, Mkomazi unfurls acacia-studded savannahs, rocky kopjes, and wide, seasonally flooded dambos. Conservationists call it a living laboratory because decades of targeted rehabilitation revived populations once driven to the brink. Here, collars and careful breeding programs helped return black rhinos and reintroduced zebra and specialist antelopes to their ancestral range. Community rangers, many recruited from neighboring villages, patrol with intimate knowledge passed down across generations. In the dry heat, oxpeckers and vultures map the skies, while small tenacious plants cling to granite slabs, creating pockets of biodiversity. Mkomazi's mosaic of habitats makes it a crucial corridor, linking the highland forests of the Usambara Mountains to the wider Serengeti ecosystem. Cross-border initiatives with Kenya have transformed poaching hotspots into cooperative patrol zones and shared intelligence networks. Tourists arriving here rarely expect to witness clandestine calf rescues or hear stories of rhino mothers returning after long absences. Seasonal rivers carve ancient channels, and during floods, they stitch temporary lakes that attract tens of thousands of migratory birds. From dusty plains to moonlit kopjes, the nocturnal chorus, hyenas, civets, and jackals, reveals ecological layers unseen by daylight. Mkomazi's success is as much human as natural. Community-led tourism, medical clinics, and education programs underpin long-term protection. Nemba Atoll is one of the few near-pristine coral atolls left in the western Indian Ocean, a living reef ring that shelters turtles, dolphins, and coral gardens, untouched by large-scale development. Do you know that the Zanzibar archipelago can light up like the night sky when bioluminescent plankton bloom along its shores, making each wave trace a blue comet across the sand? In the heart of Udzungwa, Stone Town's labyrinthine streets conceal carved doors and rooftop courtyards where centuries of Swahili trade left a mosaic of Persian, Arab, and Portuguese influences. Follow the scent of cloves from old market stalls to the windswept beaches of Nungwi and Kondoa, where traditional dhow builders still stitch hulls by hand beneath the same stars that guided sailors for generations. Beneath Manemba's waves, walls of table coral and spur and groove formations host parrotfish, schooling snappers, and the occasional manta, weaving an underwater tapestry that draws divers from around the globe. A short crossing northward brings you to Pemba, whose dense forests and mangrove creeks nurture endemic species like the Pemba flying fox and secret waterfalls hidden in emerald valleys. Kumba Island stands as a community-driven conservation success, where coral nurseries and reef monitoring have restored fish populations and made the reef function like the archipelago's immune system. On Prison Island, ancient tortoises lumber among colonial ruins, offering a slow-motion counterpoint to the tidal flats that feed juvenile fish into the mangrove nurseries across the lagoon. Zanzibar's spice farms are more than souvenirs. Cloves, cinnamon, and black pepper shape local cuisine, folklore, and the economy, linking inland plantations to the coral-fringed coasts where fishermen mend their nets. From the silent glaciers of Mount Kilimanjaro to the labyrinthine mangroves of the Rufiji Delta, the country's landscapes keep secrets that defy expectation. We traced flamingo-pink shores, underground rivers, and rocks that sing when struck, each place folding into the next like chapters in a living atlas. And yet the true thread through all these wonders is not just geology or wildlife, but the human stories braided with them. Villages, guides, scientists, and elders translate the land's mysteries into memory and future. You saw how Serengeti grasses choreograph ancient migrations that reshape ecosystems year after year. You followed the smoke rises of crater lakes and the quiet recovery of forests, where endangered species find refuge. This film never intends to close the book, only to open a door, inviting you to go farther, stay longer, and listen closely. Because for every hidden valley we reveal, Tanzania keeps another waiting, patient and alive. So carry these images with you, and when questions linger about strange pink lakes, singing rocks, or sea forests, let them draw you back. The story continues in the footsteps you will take, and the conversations you will start when you seek these places for yourself. If one thing remains clear, it's that Tanzania is not merely a destination, but a mosaic of living mysteries. And as you leave this journey, remember that the most astonishing chapters are the ones still unread.